What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Today is finally the day that I am trying out the new Bite Beauty Changemaker Supercharged Micellar Foundation. Ever since I heard they were coming out with this, I wanted to try it. And I think for me, what got me excited was that it was a new clean foundation that's supposed to be very natural, lightweight, skin-like, which on pretty much an everyday basis is what I'm going for lately. So I'm gonna give it a whirl, give you my take on it. But first, here's the breakdown of what you need to know. So this is a clean, long-wearing foundation with a gentle micellar technology that's supposed to mimic the skin's texture for a natural, flawless finish. It's supposed to give you a buildable medium coverage. It comes in 32 different shades and the price is $39.50 if you're in the US. $52 if you're in Canada, like myself. But you do get the standard amount of product in here. There's 30 ml or 1 fluid ounce of foundation in the tube that looks like this. I just moisturized my face and I saw this. I don't know what that's all about, but it's a new discovery this morning. I somehow scratched my face without knowing. But the shade that I am gonna be using is M55, and this is the lightest of the medium shade range that they came out with. And it says to dot the foundation onto the cheeks, forehead, and the nose, and then use your fingers or a brush to blend it out. Now, I am not much of a finger blender, but I'm gonna give it a try because if the directions said to, I'll at least try it out and see how it works. Instantly, I can tell you this stuff is creamy and it's slightly scented. It has like this whipped texture, which it actually feels really good on the skin, but I'm kind of worried because I have usually a combination skin type. Right now, I am definitely more on the dry, or I guess you could say dehydrated side. I've never experienced dry skin like this. I don't know what's up with it, but it's different for me. So this might actually be exactly what I need for my new skin type. The color looks to be pretty darn good. Like, you can't even see that blending into my neck really good. It definitely took down some of the redness and the freckles that you see over here. I got a slight coverage. Let's try doing a little bit more. And it says to tap it on to the areas that you want more coverage. So I'll just do my chin and my freckles. Not that I want to cover them up, but this is the best way to tell if a foundation is buildable. Oh, hello, smooth skin. That's looking super beautiful. I'm actually liking it a lot so far. The skin looks smooth. I have like this nice fresh face glow, which makes me look like I just have healthy looking skin. And it did a pretty good job at evening myself out. Definitely going to say this is a natural, very natural coverage. I would say it's probably on the lighter side of a medium coverage so far. And I was able to slightly build it up more here on the cheeks and then maybe a bit more on the chin. But I can kind of say pretty confidently that I don't think I'm going to be able to build this up to a full medium coverage just because it still feels a little bit rich on the skin, like it hasn't fully dried down. But with that said, I'm gonna give this a few minutes to do its thing, work on the other side. And now I know it says to use a brush, but I am a sponge kind of girl. I am going to just kind of apply this on with my fingers like I did the other side. That already looks pretty nice. And then go in with a slightly damp beauty blender. Oh, I should have showed this to you before I actually started using it. I got this so clean. It's probably the cleanest it's been in months because I really scrubbed at it. But I just love using a sponge. It never fails me. And especially lately with my new dry skin, I feel like it works the best because there's less tugging compared to a brush. So I'm just gonna try and build this up to match the other side. It already seems to be blending it out just as nice. What is this? You see that? Like the foundation, it's applying, but it's not really drying down. For me, I do usually prefer more of a self-setting foundation just because I know it's not going anywhere, and then I can build up that coverage a little bit more. All right, friends, I think that just about does it on the coverage. I think we are tapped out. This is my face with 2 layers on each side, blend it out. I'm gonna say that the sponge give me pretty much the exact same results as using my fingers. I wanna really put emphasis here on natural foundation. Very similar almost to like the results of, I would say, a BB cream, but it does look pretty flawless in its own way. It is definitely skin-like. You can still see the freckles peeking through. It also did a pretty good or decent job, I'd say, at covering up or concealing the blemishes over here. Really nice over here. I also have less to cover on this side just because over here I have more freckles and definitely more blemishes this week. But overall, I'm gonna say that that actually looks really nice on the skin. Up close and personal. It's rich right here. Let me tap that in a little bit, but you see how it's really blurring any texture that I have on my skin, especially right here, where usually the pores are a little bit more obvious. Same thing up here on the forehead. It just looks really nice. Hydrated. Now, with that said, because it feels a little bit rich on the skin, it doesn't feel greasy. It's not like it feels heavy. I can just tell you it feels hydrating, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think if you have really dry skin, you'd probably really appreciate that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and set one side of my face using the new powders that they also came out with at the same time. So this is the Changemaker Flexible Coverage Pressed Powder, and I got mine in the shade Medium 1. There's 8 different shades to choose from, but I actually think that this is going to be a pretty good match for me. So this is described as a clean, talc-free powder made with finely milled volcanic minerals to blur, mattify, and touch up on the go. Wow, that definitely mattified the skin. It feels like it set it in place, but it hasn't completely sucked the life out of my skin, which sometimes when I apply powders, they do, especially if my skin's more on the dry side, or especially if something is really rich underneath, which this foundation is. So it's pretty surprising that that did not do that. Wow, and it looks so smooth, even more smooth than it did before. Like, look at my forehead. So I'm only gonna do one side of my face because I wanna compare it to another setting powder that I use all the time. And that is the, I have to be very careful with this. Oh, so dirty. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder in the shade number 2. Now, the reason why I gotta be careful is because like a month ago, the lid popped off, which sadly is not the first time this has happened. It always happens to me with this powder compact. Maybe I'm just really rough, I don't know. And then last week it fell and broke into a bunch of pieces. Still gonna use it because I love it to set my foundations. It's just a really nice, light, like thin, finely milled powder that never looks cakey, and it sets my foundations really well. Just so happens to cost an arm and a leg. This powder is actually pretty pricey. But speaking of prices, the Bite powder, $36 if you're in the US, $48 if you're in Canada. Kinda steep for a setting powder, which by the way, I wanna put emphasis on it being a setting powder. You can see it didn't add much coverage. Wow, that's looking really good. Like, look at that side compared to here. And this side looks good, but this one almost looks a little bit better. Look at the nice glow. What was I saying? Not a powder foundation. Doesn't have a lot of coverage. It's more on the sheer side. It's really just meant to boost up the coverage of whatever you have on underneath and set your foundation in place, which I think it did. It's $12.50. My face is set. I'm just gonna do a little bit more makeup and I'll be right back. First things first, I'm not feeling my makeup today. It was actually hard to do my makeup, which is really strange because I did a more au naturel look, but for some reason it just didn't seem like the makeup meshed together, especially underneath my eyes. I'm really dry, but the actual skin, like here, looks really beautiful still. I still think it looks really smooth, flawless, blurred. Kind of looks a little bit dry in the expression areas. It doesn't look super flattering up close. I was looking at that on my chin, but up here on the forehead, it still looks smooth and blurred, like I said. And I do think that I am leaning more towards the side that I use the Bite powder because I think it just looks a bit more flawless. One more thing that I want to talk about before I go on is the color. It totally oxidized. It definitely got darker. it looks too warm for my skin tone. I really hope that this is coming through in camera. In real life, it's like kind of pinky. And that sucks because I forgot to tell you this earlier that when I was at Sephora, the one shade they didn't have a tester for was M55. But I was like, I have to be in the medium shade range. I'm always a medium shade in foundations. This was the lightest one. Everything else seemed too dark. So I went with my gut and I got this. But as I was walking away from the display, I saw L35. I'm never in the light shade range, but I swatched this and I feel like it is the perfect undertone for me because it's the perfect mix of yellow and peach, which is usually what I wear and matches me really well. But the color is a smidge, a tiny bit too light. So now I almost feel like I wish I would have tried the L35, and then with the powder, it maybe would have worked out to be my perfect color match, but you live and you learn. That's what these videos are all about. So those are my thoughts so far. The sun is setting, so let's do this update before I lose natural light. So it's 5 o'clock, 5:15. This is what my face is looking like. It looks dry, which is really surprising for a foundation that had that creamy whipped texture. I actually thought it was going to be too greasy on my skin, and it doesn't feel greasy at all. It does kind of look and feel a little bit dry. Could also be my skin type right now. It's also a little bit cakey on my chin, on my nose, underneath here. It doesn't look so hot. It's 9:30. I am beyond ready to wash my face, take a shower, and call it a night. But I'm here to tell you that unfortunately I gotta pass on these products, and I'm so bummed about it because I was so excited to try them. I really wanted to love them, but unfortunately they just didn't wear how I wanted them to. I really liked the look of the foundation on its own. I thought it was really beautiful on the skin. And then even when I set it, I thought that it looked really good. The texture of this powder is really beautiful. Even here, there's still parts of me that wants to love it. But throughout the day, it just broke up a lot on the chin, underneath the nose, on top of the nose, a little bit dry on the forehead. And I just overall feel dry, which is crazy. So I gotta pass. With that said, if you guys have tried them, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what foundation you want to see me review next. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.